Good evening. Tonight, what we are witnessing across the United States is no longer just a series of protests. It is turning into something deeper, something more sustained, and possibly more consequential. From Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles, from New York City to smaller towns that rarely make national headlines, the No Kings movement is growing, not just in numbers, but in confidence. And tonight, for the first time, there's a noticeable shift in tone, not just anger, not just frustration, but something else, something that hasn't been seen much in recent months, a sense of optimism. People who gathered in Washington described the atmosphere as surprisingly energized, almost celebratory, not because the issues are resolved, but because many no longer feel alone in their concerns. There is a growing belief among protesters that what started as scattered resistance is now becoming a unified voice, and that matters because movements don't grow just on outrage, they grow on momentum. What stood out today wasn't just the size of the crowds, but how diverse they were. This is no longer a single issue protest. It's not limited to one political identity, one ideology, or one group. It's expanding. Some are there because of immigration policies, others because of economic pressures, rising costs, instability, uncertainty. Many are focused on the ongoing conflict with Iran and fears about where that could lead. And then there are those who aren't tied to one issue at all, but are reacting to a broader feeling that power is becoming too concentrated, too visible, too dominant in everyday life. That's the core message behind No Kings. It's not just a slogan, it's a warning against the idea that leadership should feel ever present, unavoidable, something people say they now feel in places they didn't before, at gas stations and grocery bills, at airports, in financial systems, even in the tone of national conversation. And whether that perception is fully accurate or politically shaped, it is real for the people in the streets. And perception in moments like this can be just as powerful as reality. What's also changing is who is showing up. There are reports now of individuals who previously supported Donald Trump, but are beginning to question recent decisions, and particularly the war with Iran. For some, that appears to be a turning point. Not for everyone, but enough to notice. And when movements begin to pull in people from outside their original base, that's when they start becoming politically significant. Organizers are already making it clear this is not a one-day event. This is not a single protest cycle. They are planning to continue, to expand, to sustain pressure. And that raises the bigger question tonight. What happens when a movement doesn't fade? Because historically, many protests surge and then disappear. But the ones that last, the ones that keep showing up week after week, month after month, are the ones that begin to influence outcomes. Right now, we are at that early stage. Momentum is building, energy is high, participation is widening, but the real test is still ahead. Can this movement maintain focus? Can it translate energy into political impact? And perhaps most importantly, will those in power respond or continue to hold their ground? Because the gap between public sentiment and political action is clearly visible tonight. And gaps like that don't stay quiet forever. They either close or they grow. We will continue to follow this story at not just where the protests are happening, but where they lead. Because this is no longer just about what people are saying in the streets. It's about what happens next. Stay with us.